Good morning from the San Rafael Swell here in Utah. Today, going to be hiking the Little Wild Horse and Bell Slot Canyons. For a full trail guide of these two slot canyons, you can check the links in the description below. Back here in Utah, this time again trying to find some awesome hikes that you can do year-round. It's mid-January and going to be attempting the Little Wild Horse and Bell Slot Canyons today. Show you the map here, so obviously you can read. We're here, and these are the two canyons that you can do with a little bit of kind of a 4x4 road connected in between. This is about an 8-mile hike. It is a brisk January morning. It's about 20 degrees. This is only my really second experience in a true slot canyon. So obviously if it's dog friendly, it's not going to be super intense, but it should be pretty fun. I'm excited to check it out. The other reason I'm super pumped about this hike is it's pretty much a loop. It's a lollipop loop with just the beginning here. And then, yeah, you'll be able to choose between doing Bell or Little Wild Horse Canyon first. In terms of getting here, you're going to drive through Goblin State Park and then basically just take a right and you'll get right to the trailhead. It's very well signed, and all of the roads to get to the trailhead are paved as well. During the snowmelt months of the spring, you might have to do some minor water crossings, but definitely accessible with all vehicles otherwise. After just 1/6 of a mile, you're going to reach the junction here. As the sign clearly says, left is Bell, right is Little Wild Horse. For no reason at all, I think I'm just going to start on the right side here. So I said earlier there's a bit of elevation gain, about 780 feet-ish. So I don't think it really matters. I've heard that left is a little bit more subtle, but you're gaining it no matter what. One of the reasons I'm so excited about this hike is, like I said, I've really not done too many slot canyons before, or canyons in general, that are like, you know, this narrow. So it's like people who just discover, you know, a 14er or hiking in general. I have like this super childlike view of them. And I'm sure after I've done a handful, they'll all start to kind of meld together. But for now, I mean, even stuff like this with the rock formations always just get me going. It's so cool. It's like you're in a coral reef above water. Just really neat. So having said that, if you have recommendations for any kind of slot canyons in Utah or beyond, definitely leave them in the comments below, and I'll be sure to check them out if I can. Earlier in the video, I said this is a dog-friendly hike, which means that dogs are allowed. Doesn't mean that, like, you should, if you own a dog, bring one. But obviously I've been trying to show you some of the little scrambles and obstacles that are involved with both of these canyons. But obviously I don't have Juno, so I can't speak firsthand. From everything I've read, as long as your dog is okay kind of scrambling a bit, they should be all right in here. But of course, you know your dog. If they're giving you signs that ain't me, probably good to just turn around. Neither one of these canyons are super committing, which means that like you can kind of turn around at any point. Because you're in a canyon, specifically a pretty narrow one, your GPS on your watch or activity tracker will probably not be super accurate today, because most likely your signal will be bouncing off the walls trying to find the satellite. This often happens in slot canyons or canyons in general. If you do have a like a handheld GPS, you should be able to measure straight lines at least with the GPS, so you can pretty much approximate how far you need to go. The Little Wild Horse is the longer of the two slot canyons here. It's about 3.6 miles long. Once you finish it, you're going to take a left and then have like a mile and a half or so. Basically, I think it's going to be on like a 4x4 shared road kind of deal. And then you'll have Bell for 1.6 on the way back to the car. So far, my thoughts on Little Wild Horse is it's pretty cool. Nothing super tight by any means. I'd say the tightest slot canyon bit that I've had so far was at the beginning. And even that, nothing compared to like Peekaboo or Spooky or anything like that. Plenty of room, haven't had to take the backpack off, so that's always a good sign. Just took a quick look at the map that was at the trailhead, and I got a picture of it on my phone. This big open canyon is going to be pretty much the remainder of Little Wild Horse. So it's going to be exactly like you're seeing right now, just big and open. Awkward, but let's talk about it. If you have to go to the bathroom, this would be a much better place, and you can dig a hole and everything else much easier than anywhere else in the beginning of this hike. There are bathrooms at the trailhead, so it's not like you're going miles and miles and miles to that one, but hey, we've all been there. Me, a lot. I've shown you a couple moves like that. Going back to dogs, always on my mind. You might just need to help them up, like little things like that. But honestly, so far, I've really been able to do most of them. I think one I couldn't film with, one I couldn't do with one hand. I had to drop my camera, but nothing super technical. After just about 4 miles of hiking, you're going to reach this pretty obvious split where the river keeps going right, and your trail, as the signs say, go left. This is not the official end of the Little Wild Horse Canyon, but you're close. So basically you're just going to kind of walk less than half mile, I believe, and eventually you're going to join up with a forest road. That forest road is road 851. Which is what I've mentioned, you'll have to walk on for about 1.5 miles to get to Bell Canyon. Alrighty, Here we are at the junction with the road here. Obviously this is a four-wheel drive road. Have a little bit of a hill in front of us, and then we'll be connecting to Bell Canyon up just in a bit. Everything's been super well signed here, so no real need for route finding. As you get to the kind of tower looking bluff behind me, this will be the end of the uphill portion pretty much of this whole hike. So right on par. I've gained about 643 feet. I think it was like 770, so I'm sure I'll gain some little pockets on the way down. Little Wild Horse Canyon was pretty cool. I'd say the fun kind of narrowy part of it was definitely towards the first half, the second being more open canyon with occasional smaller moves mixed in. So excited to see what Bell has to offer. Alrighty, here we are, the end of the 851 road. No sign this time, but pretty obvious if you can read a map. You're just going to continue on straight here into the Bell Canyon. Totally up to you, depending on what you like, you know, your preferences, but unless something crazy changes, I would recommend starting on Little Horse and then coming to Bell. The reason for that is because the climb that I just made back up there is definitely more significant coming down, which means if you're starting on Bell and going up it, it'd be steeper. As we work our way into Bell Canyon here, let's talk about gear for this hike. If you're coming here in the summer versus the winter, obviously slightly different levels of hydration, at least in my opinion. Obviously summer more, winter less. In terms of layering, obviously I'm down to my second layer right now, but a light jacket is probably helpful in the winter, if not a heavier one if you run a little bit colder. In the summer, yeah, I mean, it should be pretty good with food, water, backpack, and I would say trail runners or hiking boots, just because some of the scrambling is probably just better grip for you if you have that, but you could definitely get away with sneakers. To help support the channel, to shop my own virtual Sherpa gear, you can check the links in the description below to see everything that I'm using. Here we go. This is a little bit of a more spicy move. Probably about, I don't know, 5-6 foot drop down there. If that's not your jam, it looks like there's an alternative route right here. Getting a little more narrow over here in Bell. So far, it's been really wide open. This is the smallest it's been to this point. Looks like we're wrapping up Bell Canyon here, back at the initial trail junction here. And I definitely would say that I prefer Little Wild Horse Canyon over Bell. Just a bit more narrow, you felt like you're more in a canyon versus just kind of walking on a graveled path. Even though not all of the 3.6 miles were in the narrow part, it still was just a bit more fun in my opinion. So take that for what you will. I'd still probably do the loop the way I did it today, even though you end with Bell, which is less exciting than Little Wild Horse. Overall, I would say Little Wild Horse and Bell Canyons were a pretty good hike. Definitely not my favorite slot canyon I've been in, but I can't really complain when you have this much seclusion and the beauty of the desert. As I work my way out of the canyon here and back to the car, I'm gonna wrap up this video. For a full trail guide and much more information on the Little Wild Horse and Bell Canyons, you can check the link in the description below. If you're new to my channel, I do virtual trail guides of slot canyons, Utah hiking, Colorado hiking, and much more. So go ahead and hit that bell and subscribe button not to miss any future hike related content. As always, thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you on the next adventure.